Hey guys, Spartan here, and in my away time, I beat Cult of the Lamb, and overall, I think it's a pretty good game. I'd probably rate it about an 8 out of 10, but there were a few things in the game that sullied my enjoyment of it, and I'm just going to talk about them for a little bit, so that, I don't know, maybe someone will see it and apply some changes and fix this stuff that I find bad, but, you never know. At any rate, it's a way to vent about some things that I think could be improved to make the game better. So I'd like to start off with the fact that whenever you enter a run, or like a little zone, or just start playing the combat portion in general, you get two items. Now, one's a weapon, one's a spell or curse, whatever you want to call it, and you have no choice between, like, what to take. You just have to take both of them. So the issue with this is that you can just be forced to take a weapon that you don't want to use. Now, normally in games this wouldn't be a real issue considering, oh, you can just swap it out later. But the thing about Cult of the Lamb is that it's luck-based whether or not you get a new weapon or spell to replace what you previously had. And even then, like, you get a card space every, like, combat stage you go into. That's guaranteed. You are not guaranteed to get a weapon stage, or like a weapon slot place where you can choose more stuff. And if you get the randomly occurring, oh, new weapon or curse, like, event, instead of getting a chest after beating a room, there's a chance that you just get either two curses or two weapons, so that you can't actually swap out a bad item that you have if you wanted to. So that's a bit detrimental. A way that I would fix this is by giving you a choice at the start between two weapons and two curses, so that you aren't forced to take a bad weapon or a bad curse if, you know, you find something that you just really don't enjoy. Like, personally, I do not like the sword swing curse. I find it very weak and very annoying to use and just not very useful overall, so I can try and skip that as much as possible. I also hate using the gauntlet, so if I get gauntlet and sword swing as my two items, well, there's a trick that I came up with in order to fix this. So there's an upgrade you can get eventually that allows you to just leave the dungeon whenever you want by focusing at no cost. So you can enter a zone, and if you do not like the weapon and curse you get, you can just leave. And I highly recommend doing that if you just get two things that you don't like. I don't like having to do it because it feels like cheesy and annoying, and obviously it's not intended, but it's really the only thing you can do in this scenario in order to fix your bad drops. So speaking of bad weapons, the gauntlet. I despise using the gauntlets. They, in my opinion, are the worst weapon in the game. They don't deal a great amount of damage for how fast they are, and their whole gimmick is, yeah, the third hit does a lot of damage and it has good range. But the problem is this game isn't based around, like, being slow and actually using your combo hits to perform a 3-hit combo. When you have the gauntlets, your playstyle basically changes from, okay, I'm gonna hit and run tactic my opponent so that I don't take any damage and just get in precise hits when I need to. And it changes to, how am I going to organize my fighting style so that the third hit connects? I literally do not care what the first two do because they don't deal a great amount of damage. Only that third hit matters. And I don't think that's very healthy for the game. That's like not... It's not a fun way to play the game. How I would fix this is I would have the gauntlet remember your hit number when you are fighting. So that, say for instance, you do 2 hits on an enemy, and then you roll away, you wait a bit until they become vulnerable again, and then the gauntlets will have remembered, oh, the player has done 2 hits, so the next hit is going to be the third in the combo. So that third hit is going to be the strong one that you're just going to immediately open up with. I think that would be a little more strategic and fun to play around instead of just having to whiff your first 2 hits basically, or very much risk getting hit from an enemy, because the gauntlets aren't the fastest weapon in the world. If they were like dagger speed, I would understand, but considering that there's like even a longer animation for that third hit to connect, it just doesn't feel good to use that weapon. At least to me. I know some people probably enjoy it, but yeah, I really think Gauntlet needs to be changed. Another problem I have is that the curses kind of feel samey. And yeah, I know, they kind of are samey, since later on, the upgrades are basically, okay, here's this basic curse style, but with insert status effect here. You know, I enjoy the curse effect that is summon spirits to attack enemies, because it's fun, it does damage, it's homing, and it's rather nice to use. It doesn't rely on, like, gimmicks or anything to be effective. It just is. It just does good damage, usually. While you have junk like Freeze, which... Freeze, I absolutely hate. When your status effect actively hinders the player in terms of, you know, conceiving when enemy attacks are going to land and hit, it just is absolutely not helpful. Like, I have this example right here from this recorded footage of a bomb-throwing enemy throwing its attack before it actually, you know, the animation finishes. So that is easily a way to throw a player off. And this happens for quite a few enemies in this game. I didn't stick with Freeze in this footage because I hate it, so you're not going to see too much of that, but you get the point. Another status effect that doesn't really work is Mind Control. Here's some footage of me using the basic Mind Control bullet that says, oh, it has a chance of mind controlling. And yeah, it has a chance of mind controlling. It's not happening here though, because it's luck-based. And even when it connects, hey, I mind controlled this one enemy here. Oh, look at the great damage it's about to deal. Yes. Wonderful damage there. It's totally worth it. Yeah. Also, sometimes mind control just doesn't work. Here's a mind control bomb throwing enemy, supposed to target other enemies, right? Nope. Still trying to kill me. So I don't understand what the point of mind control is when it just doesn't work half the time. Also, the effects of buffed bosses sometimes just don't work. So on revisiting, bosses like mini-bosses have this bar that charges up over time, and when it fully charges, it shoots shots around it to, like, make the boss harder. But sometimes it just doesn't work. For instance, this time, whenever the bar charged up and the boss was on the ground, the boss would just hit itself with its own special shot power. Why? I have no idea, but this actively just makes the boss easier in most situations. And here's this other time, this was from the same recording session, and yeah, the boss just doesn't charge up its bar. It never reaches maximum capacity, so it just doesn't do anything. Like, what the hell? This is probably a bug and absolutely not intentional, but it needs to be addressed regardless. Something else that I abused during my first playthrough was the fact that the economy is kind of shaky, and it's kind of easy to get, like, tons of gold, is something I did on my first playthrough. So, once you unlock the ability to sell stuff, and you've beaten the fishing quest at Pilgrim's Passage, you can talk to the fish guy and buy, like, 20 squid and octopus for 10 coins each, and go back to the base, of which you can sell for 20 coins each. This does decrease every time you sell, but you can just wait a little, and you're basically just getting profit for the mere task of going between Pilgrim's Passage and your base, like, for free. You are gaining economy. Like, for this instance, I bought a bunch, sold a bunch, and I even bought other fish just for... because I needed them for my file anyway. And yeah, I ended up making basically a ton of profit. And there's pretty much no requirements to do this, just beat the fishing quest and have unlocked the sell function, which is very easy to do. The final thing I want to touch upon in this video is the fact that you unlock tarot cards through playing the game, but the issue is that not all the tarot cards you unlock are actually good. Now, it's human nature to just want to unlock everything there is, because, you know, completionism and whatnot, and everyone likes to do that, or at least I do. And the thing is that a bunch of these cards just straight up aren't good, and there's no way to remove them from rotation. I'm gonna draw a comparison to Loop Hero here. Loop Hero was very much the same at launch, where you beat a boss in that game and you get perks to unlock permanently that you can find later on, but a bunch of them weren't good, so eventually they added a feature where you could just straight up take perks that you had unlocked out of rotation. Like, for instance, there's a perk in this game that makes you immune to poison, which you saw me take earlier in this footage. It is not good, because poison is super niche, and that ability just does nothing else. I've literally never seen poison be applied to me a single time. And the fact that you only get the choice between two cards is a big issue, so yeah, unless you're giving more opportunities to, or more selection with cards, then you just get offered between cards that don't really do anything, like gather bonus resources. Who cares? Not me. Especially late game, so what's the point? There needs to be like some way to remove the cards from the deck or something like that, if you're going to bother having like, I don't know, there's a total of 40 or something cards? I'm not sure because it's hard to actually find the menu that actually tells you where the cards are. But yeah, aside from a few bugs, which are obviously bugs, they're not things that particularly need to be changed because, I mean, they just need to be fixed, they're not actually problematic game design or anything like that. They're obviously going to be fixed eventually, surely. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any insight you'd like to share, or if you have anything that you perhaps thought differently about, or maybe have a solution, I'd love to hear it in the comment section below. But yeah, until next time, see you.